everyone. While we're joining, I'll just give a couple of minutes just for people to log in and join. So feel free to say hello in the comments and just tell people where you're viewing from. Have you read the books yet? What are you reading at the moment? That kind of thing. Just while people join in. A very good place to be sat, I think. Nice and cosy on a Monday evening. Birmingham, nice. Where else are people from? London? Hello. Yes, I agree. The One That Got Away definitely surprised me in a good way. Staffordshire, Montreal, wow. Lots of different places. Very nice. Okay, so I will just introduce myself. So hello, for those of you that don't know me, have never seen me before, I'm Eloise, or Eloise Reads on the internet. I have been a bookstagrammer for several years now. Love posting about books, talking about books, and I'm really, really excited and honoured to be hosting this event for you this evening. So this event is an Aria at home event. So they have done previously on Facebook, but this is obviously on Instagram. So hopefully you enjoy it. So in a couple of minutes I will invite the two authors to kind of join us, but just in case you haven't heard of them or have heard of one but maybe not the other, I just thought I'd kind of give you a little brief introduction as to who they are, and then obviously they can introduce themselves in their own words as well. So we're going to be joined by Charlotte Rickson, who is the author of The One That Got Away, and Lily Linden, who is the author of Double Booked last year, and My Own Worst Enemy, which is coming out later this year. So Charlotte Rickson is the pen name for Charlotte Duckworth. She's a USA best-selling author of suspense fiction, published by Quercus. Charlotte studied classics at Leeds University and went on to gain a PG dip in screenwriting, which is pretty cool. She worked for many years as a magazine journalist and is a graduate of the Faber Academy Writing a Novel course, and her debut book club novel, The One That Got Away, is out in hardback now, so you can go and order it right after this. Lily Linden is a writer and editor, and she lives in London. And she studied English at Cambridge, where she wrote, directed and performed in theatre, comedy shows with Footlights at the Edinburgh Fringe and across the United States. She then worked at Penguin Random House, where she published the vintage classics Love Letters of Virginia Woolf and Vita Sackville West. Again, that's been on my reading list forever. Currently she's an editor on creative writing courses at the Novelry and hosts Witlit, which is an interview podcast about funny books. She won a Comedy Women in Print Prize for Funniest Sex Scene, an award that she is still hiding from her mother, and her debut novel Double Booked has just come out in paperback, and as I mentioned, My Own Worst Enemy will be out later in the year. So I'm now going to add them to the live so they can introduce themselves, and we have some questions that we're going to go through, but there will be a chance for you to have your questions asked at the end, so make sure you comment them throughout the live and we will also go back to them at the end, so there will be a chance for you to have your say.
my God. Hello.
Hi.
So technical. Hi.
Here we are. Bloody hell.
Brilliant.
What a relief. I'm not touching the phone now.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll all be fine. As long as my selfie stick doesn't give up and like collapse. So yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. Oh.
Okay, so if you want to, I don't know who wants to go first. If you would just want to introduce yourself, maybe say who's who if your audience isn't quite sure.
Do you want to go first, Charlotte?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Charlotte. My real name is Charlotte Duckworth, but for the purposes of this evening, my name is Charlotte Ritson, and I'm the author of The One That Got Away. So this is actually my 6th published novel, I think. I've lost track. So I have written 5 suspense novels for a different publisher before, but this is my kind of first book club / contemporary fiction / I hate genre, I don't know, but it's not a romance, which I might rant about later. And it came out last week, so I'm a bit like, oh, that's so exciting.
Congrats.
Thank you.
I'm Lily. I'm the author of Double Book, the blue one. The paperback came out like 2 days ago, so that's fun. I'm sure that everyone who's watching this has read it, loved it, put 5-star reviews everywhere, but if you haven't, then obviously do. And then my second queer rom-com, it's a queer rom-com vibe. I'm sure we're going to do our little pitches in a second, but the other one is My Own Worst Enemy, which is coming out in the summer, so we might talk about that in passing. Great.
Brilliant. So obviously, hello and good evening to both of you, and as I mentioned just earlier, if you have any questions, then feel free to pop them in the comments like at any point, and then we'll go through and hopefully catch them at the end. So obviously we've just introduced ourselves to you two, so I'd also like to know, what are your books about? Lily, you can pick which one. The elevator pitch, if no one's heard of it at all, what would you say to kind of interest them in reading it?
Shall I go first every time? Otherwise we'll do that thing where we're like, who's going first? So The One That Got Away is, do you know what, I rehearsed this earlier and now okay, so it's how do I explain this? It is about a young couple who meet at university. They fall passionately in love. They have a very tempestuous, slightly volatile relationship that lasts throughout their time at university, and then something terrible happens, which I won't tell you, at the end, just before they graduate, and they're kind of torn apart. And then you basically meet the main character, Clara, again 20 years later, and she's married to somebody else, and she's got a great job, but she kind of can't move on from her first great love, which was the boy she met at university. And one day she's at work and she hears that a bomb has gone off in the football stadium where she suspects he will be, because he's a diehard football fan. And basically, for no real reason, she just gets on a train to try and find him after 20 years. And then, it kind of deals with a lot of the time that passes in the 20 years where they were apart. And then, I can't do this. Why am I so bad at like summing up my book? I think because it's so long.
It's fine.
It's like really hard like to do it in like, anyway, it's kind of about your first great love. That's the short version. Oh, yeah, sorry.
No. You'll refine, it's first week. It's authentic, by the time by jaded paperback, you'll be.
I literally need a script. I need a script. I should write it down so I can just read it out.
Spontaneous, it's fresh. Double Booked is a bisexual rom-com. It's about Georgina, who has got her life very planned. She's got her recurring digital calendar of events that she thinks she's smashing. She's a piano teacher and fed up with that, and loves her long-term boyfriend, but also is sort of avoiding everything in her life. And then one evening, her best friend takes her to a gay bar and she sees this amazing cult lesbian pop band, and she realizes that she misses performing her own music, and she also realizes that she really fancies the drummer. And when Faze then ask her to join as their pianist, Georgina sort of splits her life in two. She's going to be the old safe straight piano teacher Gina by day, and she's going to be this queer icon George by night. What could possibly go wrong? That's the vibe.
That's a very, very,
Brilliant.
very polished.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, they were both amazing pictures. I mean, I've read both of them and I still want to read them again just from those. So,
Yay.
fine.
Oh my god, thank you, Treat Yo Shelves.
That's a very good username.
This is so distracting. I don't know how to.
I know, I keep seeing the names and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but gorgeous.
So, obviously, for your books, do you have a favourite part or favourite line? And if you do, why is it your favourite?
So I do have a favourite line actually. I don't normally, but in this one, there's a little bit near the end where I can read you a bit because otherwise I think it's going to be a bit random. But basically, the main character Clara is I don't think it's a spoiler to say she finds the man that she once loved, and she's at his house and she's looking and she sees that there's this cork board with all these photographs of people and they're kind of going yellow and curling at the edges because they've been up on this wall for so long. And then she has this flashback where she remembers when they were young and they were together, and he said to her, all he ever wanted was a simple life with people I love. And I know it sounds a bit naff, but that's kind of all I've ever wanted. So when I wrote that, I felt like, yeah, basically that is kind of, that's a successful life really, isn't it? I mean, you don't need loads of great big events, and the irony is neither of them have a simple life in the end. But yeah, I think that's kind of my favorite line because I'm quite a boring introvert, and yeah, I just want a simple life with people I love, and I'm quite lucky I do have a family I love. So yeah, those are my favorite lines. They're kind of quite heartfelt for me. That's a bit serious answer, but it's the truth.
Very wholesome.
Mm.
I feel like I wrote this book really quite a long time ago, and what is quite bizarre is opening it up, and I really promised I did read this book really a lot of times while I was writing it and editing it, and it's like reading like your old diaries now, where you open it and you're like, oh my god, like I do remember that day, but I don't remember writing that thing about it. And yeah, I quite like that feeling of opening it up, and I'm afraid to say it does still make me laugh. So I don't know whether that just says that I find myself really funny, but maybe hopefully other people will as well. I think I really enjoyed so she's a piano teacher, the main character, and I was surprised at how much I enjoyed writing the little scenes where she is teaching the kids. And I think probably, yeah, some of those scenes are probably unexpected favourites of mine. And yeah, I feel like people have wanted to befriend those kids, which is nice.
Very nice. Okay, so then contrastingly, hopefully you've read each other's books for this question. What is your favourite part or favourite section about each other's books?
This is so funny because I swear this is not this is going to sound completely like I'm making this up now, but genuinely it was so funny. And there was this, I think it was quite near the beginning, this bit that you said about these vegetables in Sainsbury's. I literally was just like, yeah, it was. Yeah, and
I genuinely don't know what you're talking about.
So she's going out with Sophie that night, and she says it's the most unusual thing to happen to me in years, apart from a few oddly shaped vegetables I saw in Sainsbury's. And I literally, that's the kind of writing I wish I could do. I cannot do funny. Like, all my books are so bloody depressing. I don't know if that's not really swearing.
Depressing is beautiful.
No, but I really love books where it's kind of like they're funny, but they also kind of get you, and like, I guess it's like pathos. I don't know, but just that they make you laugh, but in a kind of, I don't know, in also quite a sad way. And yeah, I felt like the tone of the book is so good. And then the other thing I was going to say was the piano, because I play the piano. So I was like, oh God, it's so nice.
We should start a band.
Yeah, I'm really shit. But no,
it
was
bizarre.
But it was so, I was like, oh my God, there's not enough piano teachers in novels. And actually, funny enough, I have one in one of my, I'm not supposed to talk about the thrillers, but my most recent thriller is about a piano teacher too. And I was like, yes, this should be a trend. Like, clearly there needs to be more piano teachers in fiction. And yeah, all the scenes with the kids, I love all that stuff. But to me, it was more that like general tone. It's just, I'm so envious because I can't do it. Like, I can never pull off kind of funny, yeah, like funny but real, like not cheesy funny, just yeah, authentic funny. Anyway, so yeah, that
Oh,
was my
thank
favorite.
you. That's so nice. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I did my homework and I actually have a little bookmark on the page that was my favorite bit. I feel like the way that you write about to sort of throw that same compliment back, I feel like I'm quite bad at sincerity in my general life and also in my writing, and I feel like the way that I do that is by having characters who can't handle that themselves, so that hopefully the readers understand that it's sincere, but they can't like do it themselves, which is hopefully how I managed to get around that, a bit like how I managed to avoid writing sex scenes by having characters who can't talk about it. But yeah, I really love the way that you write about like that sort of very intense, quite embarrassing way that people get when they're very in love and very obsessed and very like needy. And I liked you have a moment where the sort of main character, the main woman is reading back emails that she'd sent to her sort of first love, and I really liked it was just very painfully real, and I feel like I really liked the way that you were having the adult her sort of reading back these emails, and like I guess we're just different. I guess I just love you more than you love me, and it's not your fault, but lucky you. And I was just like, oh my god, it's so horribly vulnerable and needy, and like just I think you have framed it so well in having like the adult reader reading those back, because I feel like if we were seeing that firsthand, it would just be almost like too cringe for the reader, and so by having it like that bit removed, I think is really effective. That's my hat on there, gold star.
Thank you. Oh, so cringe
but very real, you know?
I was gonna say, but both
we're all cringe.
Nothing wrong with that. So this question actually was originally inspired by Charlotte, because obviously the book is called The One That Got Away, and I had the Katy Perry song in my head every time I looked at it. So I was thinking, like, do you have, in your writing process, do you kind of create a specific playlist for each project? Do you just stick the radio on? Are you a silence only, or coffee shops? Like, what is your kind of background sound when you're writing?
It's so fun. I literally could not write to music at all. Like, I just could not imagine writing to music. So no, I have complete silence. But I did. This is a bit weird and a bit embarrassing to admit this, but because it was a change of genre for me, and I was sort of writing it for myself, so I wasn't under contract. There's a Sia song. I'm so embarrassed. Called "Courage to Change," which I basically kept playing to myself, and it's like, you know, it's all kind of, it's a bit anthemy, you know, so it's a bit like, you know, you can do something different, it's going to be fine, and you know. So I think I played that a lot when I was walking, like when I wasn't actually writing, just to kind of psych myself up to be like, yeah, I can do something different, it's going to be fine. But no, I wouldn't generally have a playlist, or I wish I was one of those writers, because I think that's really cool, and like people who do Pinterest boards and stuff. But no, I'm very boring. I'm just me with my chewing gum and my water. Like, there's nothing going on here. So dull.
What flavour of chewing gum?
Oh, I've got a whole tub extra. Green extra. Literally, I can't live without it. It's awful. It's an addiction.
That's a very, I mean, in terms of like healthy addictions, I feel like you've got a good one there.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I feel like in theory, I do, if I'm being honest, I do concentrate best just in silence, but I also feel like that is only when I'm being very good and focused, and the vast majority of the time having a little bit of either like cafe. I mean, I love working in a cafe where I'm like half left alone, but half like being kept kind of honest by being there. I quite like the sort of performative element of like being in a cafe and like feeling like, oh, but I look like a writer, so I guess I'd better like fake it till I make it. Like, it feels a bit dishonest to like go into a cafe and like pretend to be a writer and then actually scroll, which is what I would otherwise be doing at home. But yeah, I did. But because this book has got so much music in it, and also a lot of queer like music in it, I really wanted to feel like I was sort of researching that, and like not, I think I had a bit of a like chip on my shoulder about not being clued up enough about kind of gay music, and like was really worried that I'd like make a reference that would feel really embarrassing or stupid. So like I also remember like the moment in my own like coming out where this person I had a really big crush on was like describing, you know, their music that they liked, and I didn't know who King Princess was, and I was, which maybe you guys don't, and maybe this is now happening again, but maybe you do, and you're like, obviously I know who King Princess is, but like I basically was like, oh, like who's King Princess? And King Princess is maybe like probably the most cliche like lesbian like singer, and it was just kind of very embarrassing for me to then go afterwards and like think that I'd like was one of the first ever listeners to kind of discover King Princess. So yeah, I feel like I really wanted to, I did listen to quite a lot of, I hope, and also because obviously I was listening to this music and really loving it and enjoying it, and like but yeah, I think I did do a lot more listening, as you were saying, Charlotte, like between sort of writing in a way. And I did I did reference quite a lot of musicians in the book, and yeah, I stand by those. I feel like all of them are absolute bangers, and I do also reference quite a lot of I do also reference quite a lot of kind of specific songs, which I was in two minds about, because a part of me did kind of want to make sure that it felt more like I really like when I'm reading to sort of be able to be allowed my own imagination in those moments. I don't want things to be kind of over explained to me, but on the other hand, there are some songs that for me just capture a mood so well, in terms of like I felt like you can almost like piggyback the mood of a song, and so I hope that there are sort of some scenes, I don't do it that often, but there are some scenes where like a song is playing in the background or something, and I hope that, you know, you absolutely don't need to know those songs or like put your book down and play Spotify to like get the vibe of the moment. But I feel like if people do know those songs, I hope that there's like an additional little Easter egg in those moments where there's maybe like a bit of a joke or a parallel or like a contrast in what the song is kind of doing and what the scene is doing, that is hopefully, yeah, like a little Easter egg for anyone who does listen to that kind of stuff. There is also a playlist that I made that's like inspired, like referencing some of these songs. So if anyone is really into that kind of thing, I think if you go onto Spotify and you search like double booked playlist, I think it will come up, and it's just full of like all queer music, all queer like women and non-binary musicians, and I firmly believe that every single one is a banger. So if anyone wants to listen to that, they should.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I will definitely be listening to that.
Yeah. Oh my god, do.
On my way to work tomorrow as well.
Please. Yeah, I still listen to it quite a lot. Yeah.
I love a good playlist.
Yeah.
Okay, so then next question, especially for you, Charlotte, because obviously I know that obviously you've written thrillers before. So why for these books, why did you make the decision to write about love and romance? And you've both done it in such different ways as well, but where it's so clear that love and romance are central themes, but looking at the books, thinking about the books, they're so polar opposites.
Yeah, well, so I've probably spoken about this too much, but this was basically my lockdown book. And I was having a midlife crisis because I was turning 40 and I definitely wasn't ready to turn 40. And I also turned 40 on that time where basically you could only go to the supermarket on your own. And so I think we had a cake from Waitrose, but, you know, me and my immediate family sat there and ate it, and I was like, happy 40th, you know, this is shit, like can't even get some balloons. But anyway, so I think that year it was just a weird year for me, so I was getting very nostalgic, and I was looking back and I was thinking about myself when I was 18 and how messed up I was, and I kind of wanted to go back and just be like, it's okay, it's all gonna be all right, you know, you're not actually that messed up. Give it a few years and it'll work out. So yeah, I think it was nostalgia, which maybe is just something that happens when you turn 40, I don't know. Anyway, so I kind of got quite obsessed with the kind of looking back, and then I thought I need to process this somehow, so I'm just going to write it in this book. So there's a lot of me in this book, and it's great because everybody hates the main character, which is really good for my ego. But anyway, Everyone's like, oh my god, NetGalley has not been kind, but it's fine. She is annoying. I appreciate that, but I kind of feel like she's 18 at the beginning. You know, she's young, she's a kid, and like we all need to cut her some slack for being neurotic. But anyway, yeah. So I think it was kind of inspired. It wasn't to me necessarily about love. It was more about looking back on yourself and thinking what you're like. And actually, also, I am kind of fascinated by first love, because I think when you first fall in love, you're like so green and you're so like trusting and you're just open and you're just like woohoo, all in. And then if that ends badly, then you kind of, the next time you go into a relationship, you're going to be a bit more guarded and you're going to have some like walls up, and you're just going to be a bit more suspicious, and it's sad because you'll never have that magic again in the same way. So I was kind of interested in that, and I thought, what if you have this first great love that completely ends horrendously? How do you move on? So yeah, these are the kind of themes that were like going around with my 40th year, and I just thought, oh, I'm gonna just write it and get out of my system, which did work actually, because now I don't care at all, but like I'm quite happy to be 40. Well, I'm 42 now, but yeah, so that was kind of why I started writing it. And genuinely, I know it sounds like one of those things authors say, but I just wrote it for me and I didn't have any intention of having it published. But I did send it to my agent, and she was just like, no edits, it's perfect, I'll send it out. And then it's sold in a week, and I was like, oh bollocks,
bloody hell.
Wow.
yeah, it was really, so you know, it's weird, life's weird and writing is weird. But yeah, that's a very long answer, sorry.
No, it's all good.
I feel like my answer is probably pretty cliche, I'm afraid, in that I mean, it's a bisexual rom-com, and I just lol was like had come out pretty recently, and I think that it is not an autobiography, but there are like, I think I was trying to work through, yeah, similar to you, Charlotte, I guess, in that it was coming from this place of like trying to work through something. And I think that what I was sort of wanting to almost like say to myself, which was like myself from a few years before, which was to, you know, stop being so biphobic, basically. And how does that, I suppose the reason that I was writing, your question was, you know, why did you choose to write about like love and romance? And I think it was sort of not having seen like positive bisexual love like represented in fiction as much as I wanted it to be, slash at all, you know, and so I think that it was important to me to sort of try and work out what that would look like and why it was that might be a challenge, because I don't think it's without its kind of difficulties in the rom-com kind of space, but yeah, I kind of wanted to write something about yeah, what bisexual love can look like in kind of the modern age, and it to be not like this angsty kind of coming out story, but to be something that was kind of like playful and fun in the way that it felt like my friends who were bisexual were not always angsting about it, but were more like, isn't this ridiculous that I, you know, that if I'm on a dating app, I have to do this kind of thing. And I think that I wanted it to feel relatable to people who were in that situation, but also to, I guess, kind of maybe like not educate, but, you know, in the way that I love kind of fiction that helps me kind of feel like I'm in someone else's shoes for a bit. I think I wanted it to feel like that. So I hope that anyone else who's reading it, who's in a kind of similar situation to Georgina, can maybe feel like they're in her, you know, Converses, but someone else can feel like that too. So yeah, I think I wrote about love and romance because it's important. It's the best thing in life, isn't it? So c'est la vie.
Yeah, very good. So still keeping on like with the romance theme-ish. So if you could spend Valentine's Day or Galentine's Day in more of a friend situation with any character, it doesn't have to be from your book, but it can be any character.
Bummer.
Who would it be? And like, what would you do? Like, what would be like the date or friend date that you would plan?
Oh, I thought it had to be from my book, and I was really like struggling. I was like, I've spent like a year with them. I don't want to spend any more time with any of them. But well, I did actually have an answer, but I'm just going to say which was literally scraping the barrel, because, like I said, I don't particularly want to spend any time with any of them. But not that they're not all great, wonderful, complex, interesting people, but just because I'm sick of them. But I did think that there's a minor character. So Benjamin, who's the main male character, his dad is in it. And yeah, he's kind of a bit part really, but I just would like to hang out with him. He's a really passionate football fan, and I am not particularly, and I'm kind of interested in it and like how people get like so obsessed with football, because I've tried and I just don't care. I don't know why. I just don't. I can't care about people that have, like, I've never met them and they're just like running around the field, and I don't really get why them kicking a ball into a net should impact my life. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, I just never understood it, and I thought I would like to go to a football match with him because maybe he'd be able to explain it to me. So yeah, I think him, but that's a very obscure answer, and yeah, definitely don't want to spend any more time with the main characters. Sorry to say. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with your answer.
I think I fancy most of my characters, and that's what sustained me writing it. I think I would want to go on a date with Kit, I'm afraid. I just want her to love me, and I would want to go on a date with Kit, and I'd want her to be in charge of everything we do. I'd want her to decide the pub we're going to. She's going to order my drinks. She's going to tell me about her life, and then we'll snog. That's what I want.
I love that. That's a good answer.
Fair enough.
Is it wrong to write fan fiction about your dream girl?
No, definitely not.
Absolutely fine. Okay, so then thinking less about your books now, more about books in general. If you had to pick like a desert island book or your favourite book, what would it be and why is it your favourite?
Well, so my desert island book is not my favourite book, but I've been asked this before, weirdly, and the only thing I could think of that I wouldn't mind reading over and over again was Adrian Mole. So I don't know if I could have all of them, but like I feel like if you're on a desert island and you're really like lonely and miserable, like that's the kind of thing that would cheer me up. It's not my favourite book, but I just feel like, I mean, obviously it's a really, they're all really good books, but just that kind of humour is the sort of thing that I feel like would be quite comforting. So yeah, but my actual favorite book, which is very cliched, is Rebecca. It's so boring, but you know, I even call my daughter Daphne. So
wow,
very naff. Although to be fair, it was also a family name. I always have to caveat that. I'm like, it wasn't just because of Daphne du Maurier. That makes me sound like a right loser. But yeah, I mean, but then I don't think I'd want to take that on a desert island because that would be really depressing to read. And like I've read it a million times as well. So yeah, I'd say Adrian Mole. All of them.
Yeah, I feel like it's funny how the desert island sort of element really skews the response. I think like favourite book, yeah, as you say, favourite book and sort of desert island. Sorry, just massive burp there. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, I think my favourite. I think I have to do a bit of a shout out to a book I actually edited, which is maybe just narcissistic of me, but I'm really passionate about it, is the love letters of Virginia Woolf and Vita Sackville-West. And I think what's so delicious about it for me is, you know, you get to see this I love reading people's letters. It's like being able to like read your icon's WhatsApp messages between them and their crush. And it's just absolutely juicy. And what the edition that I sort of published, it brings together their letters with their diary entries, and it means that you can see what they're like writing about each other privately, and then what they're saying to each other. And oh my god, it's just so flirtatious, and it's so they're so obsessed with each other, and I love that it spans so many years of their lives, and so it means that you get to see them in their like first flirtation, like I'm obsessed with this person, and then the sort of fallout, and then them actually becoming friends, and meantime we're seeing them kind of writing about writing. And so I think for anyone who's interested in like the craft, or people who love Virginia Woolf's books in particular, I think it's an amazing window like behind the curtains and stuff. Yeah, I think it's just really, really fun, and yeah, I love it. So I think I probably wouldn't take that to the desert island with me, but it is my favorite and I'd recommend it. Yeah, I'll think about the desert island.
Yeah, no.
Hard.
To be fair, they are different, like Desert Island Forever or like favourite book. Easier.
Yeah.
That is tricky one actually.
Yeah, it's really hard. Yeah.
So obviously thinking back, you've both had like very different publishing journeys. You're kind of at different points and kind of not different trajectories, that's the wrong word, but like you write in different kind of circles almost. So what has been like your favorite part of like your either your writing or your publishing process?
I like the last stage, like the line edits, when you're like, wait, although you do have proofs after that, but that's the bit where it's like just a little bit of polishing, and it's so nice after months of structural edits and just a lot of painful pulling things apart and putting them back together again. But I don't know. I think actually for me with this book, it was writing it because I keep saying this. I genuinely wrote it for myself, and I just did it for not for fun, but you know, like it was almost like therapy, I guess. And I think that was very nice to be writing out of contract, so like nobody was expecting it, so I didn't have any kind of, because when I write my suspense, I'm constantly thinking about what previous readers have said and what they want, and you know, I've kind of have a little bit of a USP in that market, and like it has to be quite focused around parenting, and you know, there's kind of like a few sort of rules almost to when I'm writing those books, whereas with this one it was just like, I'm just gonna do what I want. Woohoo! And yeah, I really enjoyed that because it was very liberating. And the fun thing is I got a 2-book deal, so I've just delivered the second, and I just didn't enjoy writing to contract. I was like, I don't want to write this, I don't want to write another romance, I only had one in me. You know, you get a bit like kind of, I just want to write what I want to write. But actually the funny thing is I finished it now and I'm really pleased with it, so maybe it's just me being grumpy.
I think I also like the edits the most, which I feel like I feel like a lot of people don't like the editing process. So I think we're probably quite unusual in having 2 editing answers here. But I think that because I'm an editor sort of by day, and I think there's nothing cooler than seeing how a book can utterly transform. I'm always so disconcerted by how much I change the book each time I fully redraft it, kind of put the old draft in the bin. I think my editors are always a bit alarmed as well, but I just think that there's something so clarifying about sort of understanding what it is that you were actually trying to say the last time, that I wish, I sort of would trust when I'm in those earlier drafts that it will grow and it will change, because I think it can be really scary when you write your absolutely terrible first draft and you're like, oh my god, there's nothing here. But it will change, and it will improve. And I just think there's nothing cooler than the thought that I love working with editors, and there's nothing more mad to me than the thought that someone else has like read my words like in a detailed way and has thoughts on how to improve them. And I think that, or maybe when my friends read it for the first time, like a few friends sort of had an early draft, or not an early draft, but like had a proof, and just like seeing what people laughed at. Like I remember a friend like sending me like photos of the lines that she'd really enjoyed reading, and like there's nothing better than that, like feeling like a few jokes that you wrote a few years ago is now making your friend laugh on their train. Like what's cooler than that?
That's very cool.
I think that's probably my favorite.
That is very cool.
Nice. So Charlotte, we kind of had a little hint there, so just kind of, obviously Lily, your book is on its way out into the world very slowly, end of this year, but like, or middle of this year. So what's next for both of you? Like, what's the process looking like?
Yeah, well, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything, but so I'm very, very naughty author, and I didn't run anything past my editor because I had a 2-book deal. So I was like, well, I have to write a second book, so I'm just going to write something. I didn't even give her a blurb, I don't think. I was just like, just leave me alone, I'll write something, it'll be fine.
That's terrifying.
Well, yeah, it is, because my agent's read it now and she was like, it's fine, don't worry. Because I was like, is she going to reject it? Because I don't really want to have to write another one. But I guess I'll have to, because, you know, I probably should have let her see some of it at some point. But I had lunch with her today and she was like, I've got it on my Kindle, I'm about to start. And I'm like, oh, God. But yeah, so I can't tell you, it doesn't really have a proper title. It has a terrible, terrible working title, which I'm not going to share because I'm horrendous at titles. But yes, so that will, if she likes it, come out, I think, early next year. But yeah, sorry, it's a bit too early to tell you anything about it, other than it is a kind of, I mean, romance is pushing it, but it is about 2 people who have issues, and maybe at one point they fall in love. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say.
Well, I'll do my proper pitch for my own.
Yeah, go on. You've got that. What's it called?
Yeah, I think the proofs are coming pretty soon. So if anyone who's watching this wants to go onto NetGalley, I think you can read it on NetGalley and give it an immediate 5 stars, obviously. Or you can also, put in a little begging for the publisher to get one of these gorgeous proofs. I love this. So my own worst enemy is a queer rom-com. It is about an aspiring actor who's just come out of drama school, and she's desperate for her big break. She's desperate to be like the world's best butch lesbian actress, and she in her audition room for her sort of next big break, she meets someone who is auditioning for the same part, who looks exactly like her and who is clearly also a very good actress, and basically they end up always fighting for the same parts, big rival energy, and it's a rival to lovers situation, and it's called My Own Worst Enemy, and I think it's probably the most camp book that maybe exists in the world, so I think that's quite fun. And I think that if anyone is the kind of person who like did Amdram at uni, or they always kind of wanted to be an actor, or have friends who are a bit outrageous, or if they fancy, basically the sort of premise comes from, I'm afraid, and maybe some people who are watching this will message me later, but it kind of, the whole premise is that I kind of fancy people who look like me, and I think that's really funny. So that is what the whole premise is basically, and I hope people enjoy it. That's it. I'll put it back over here. My Own Worst Enemy, June the 8th, pre-order. Woo!
Brilliant. So speaking of pre-orders or ordering, when or where can I have them, but for people who don't, where can we get our hands on your lovely books, or be able to when they come out?
Oh, so the one that got away is out in hardback now. I don't know if anybody buys hardbacks. I mean, I love.
Well, they must. They simply must.
Yeah, they must. Please no. But it's also, at the moment, it's 99p on Kindle. So I would say that was a better deal personally. But obviously, I should be pushing my hardback. But yeah, so I think the paperback's coming out early next year. Oh my god, my editor told me today, and I've already forgotten. I'm so bad at it, but I think it's early next. I'm sure it's early next year. She said, because anyway, at some point next year. But at the moment, it's only in hardback, and then the audios should be soon, but it's a little bit delayed for various boring reasons. So I mean, obviously it's everywhere, Amazon, blah blah blah.
Pretty much the same. If anyone wants to get double booked, I think there is an offer on I think there's like a Valentine's Day offer on Amazon, if you want to pay Jeffrey Bezos some money for that. Or I would also recommend, I'm just going to show you up close so that you really desire it.
So good, that cover. I love that.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? It is fun. This is obviously my outfit right now. But I did also sign some copies. If anyone is a Londoner and they want to get a signed copy, there are some available in Gaze the Word bookshop, which I also would really recommend as just a place, and also the Common Press in Shoreditch. So if you want a signed copy, or you want to go cruising at some gay bookshops, I would recommend both of those places. Always really cute customers. That
sounds like the start of a book, to be fair.
Yeah.
Someone needs to write that book. Yeah.
I think maybe I should.
Yeah. 3.
Yeah. But if you don't want to be in person getting them, or you don't want a signed copy because you hate pink ink, then you can obviously get them online, and it is available as an audiobook or an ebook or all of that sort of thing as well.
Cool.
Yes. So there's no excuses, basically.
Absolutely no excuses. So I meant to remind audience members that a couple of questions ago, if you start sending yours in, and then I forgot. So if you want to just send your questions in, if you have any, I did see a couple pop up ages and ages ago. So if you want to resend, that would be useful.
Yeah,
Oh my God, fun.
can you see the previous one? I'm not going to touch it because
I can, but I'm scared to touch my
I know.
in
Oh,
case it
yeah.
all goes wrong.
Pink ink,
Yeah.
yeah, pink ink. I did sign the ones at Case Word and Common Counter in pink ink, and they're
that's
exclusive.
amazing.
So you simply must go and pick them up. Yeah,
Aw.
and say to Jim that I said hi. He's the amazing person there.
Yeah, can you do Instagram? Sorry, this is a random question. Can you do Instagram lives on a desktop, or do you have to do it on a phone?
I tried to do it and then it didn't work, and then I googled
Okay.
it and it said no. So
Okay, well, fair enough. They just make because it's so much more stressful on a phone because it's so small, and I'm like, I can see people joining, but I can't see any questions.
I have seen some people come up who are people that I once went on a date with. I've been really
wow.
enjoying them. I wonder if anyone is still here.
Oh my goodness.
I'm joking.
Oh.
I'm
Again, that sounds like another book. That actually
yeah, oh my God,
book.
that would be so good. I think a question did just come up.
oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh, if two books had to merge together to make your book, what two would it be?
If two books had to as in
like
right, yeah. Oh, what are the kind of comparisons? Oh yeah, that's fun.
well, I always say mine's like One Day, and it's also slightly like The Paper Palace, but not quite really, but it has similar depressing themes. So yeah, but I mean, One Day is pretty, I feel like that's a, I feel like I'm being a bit generous to myself by saying it's like One Day, but yeah. Those are my two, I think.
Double booked. I feel like I'll do the other one actually. My Own Worst Enemy, I think, has got it's like a modern Tipping the Velvet in that it's got two obviously kind of like butch actors who are kind of like impersonating each other, and there's a lot of like fancying each other, rivalry, double acting kind of situation going on. So it would be like Tipping the Velvet combined with like something very like Drag Race. Maybe that's what I'm gonna say.
That's a proper niche.
yeah, it's quite, yeah. But I also do think it's basically like an enemies to lovers. So if there are any, you don't have to be gay to like it, I guess, is what.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But it helps.
Well, I think the thing is, it's nice. Like, I really enjoyed reading your book because it's not something I've had a huge amount of exposure to. So actually, it's kind of it is a bit educational, but in a very entertaining way. So that's a good thing.
Yay! Yeah, I hope so. Did I see a question that was like, what was your favorite scene to write?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It's been 2 years. I can't bloody remember. I quite like writing the beginning because it came quite quick. Actually, it was kind of the beginning bit where they meet each other, because that sort of just poured out of me. So that was very quick. So, and I didn't really edit that, where they meet each other in a club, which is funny because I've had some, not that I'm sensitive to criticism at all, but I did have some people saying it was a, what do they call it? Insta love? I didn't even know Insta love was a thing. I'm so old. I was like, what's Insta love? Like, oh, it's too Insta lovey. I was like, okay, I need to educate myself. But it's slightly based on how I met my boyfriend at uni. So I'm like, well, it might be Insta love, but it kind of what happened to me. So, it does happen. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed writing those because, again, it was that nostalgia sense for me, remembering what it's like to be in a nightclub.
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed writing the scenes with FaZe, who are the like cult lesbian pop band, because I really kind of enjoy all of them as characters, and I really liked writing. I think I just liked sort of imagining that they were my friends. I basically just write to have imaginary friends, basically, and I think it was the most fun to kind of be in those scenes. And yeah, I feel like they did. Yeah, they kind of felt like I don't know. I very much feel like it's that weird magic of like you are still the puppet master, but I feel like they do kind of talk back a bit, and yeah, I really enjoyed that weird feeling of like feeling like I was sort of talking to myself, but that they were kind of talking back, which does make me sound insane. But those were fun to write.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any side characters you'd like to have their own novel?
Oh,
sorry, Eloise. I don't mean. I just
No, that's fine.
Reading them aloud.
I was just reading that, thinking. Normally in books, I end up loving the side characters more than the main characters. So like, if anyone ever wrote a book about like the side characters, I'd be like, yes, please, do it.
I quite like there's a son in mine. There's a boy. Although he's 16 by the end, so he's like, I mean, he's a bit too good to be true in some ways. So maybe him. Like, I feel like I could have gone a bit more in depth with him. But yeah, I can't really say any more. Otherwise, it'll just spoil the whole book. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I hope that there are some fun characters that I feel like there's enough of them that you'd be curious to know about what their sort of spin-off vibes would be.
Yeah, you've got loads of characters. Like,
I do. Yeah, I love I love writing those kind of semi-stylized, like the kinds of like big personalities that feel like they go through life being the protagonists of their own lives. And so I feel like there are characters who act as if they're the main character, even if they're not. So I think any of the characters in Phase, I feel like could hold up their own books. If any publisher would like to give me money for that, I'd happily do that. I also feel like, even like Bronze Age, I feel like the sort of, the boy band, sort of the straight band in the book. Sophie. Oh yeah, I would love to see that as well. I feel like she's like the best friend. She's like the sort of queer lesbian. I feel like hers would be not a novel. Hers would be like a YouTube series. I'd love to see that sort of like made.
That's so true.
So yeah.
Cool. Oh, there was loads going on there. I was like trying to read them, but I'm really bad at multitasking.
Very, very quickly then.
Yeah. Can you see them, Eloise? Can you, like, I feel like...
I can see the bottom two, but I don't know if I can scroll up or not.
Luck of the draw, yeah.
Oh, I saw a question and I'm so brain dead I forgot the answer. Oh, where to review? Oh yeah, I'm okay. That's fine. Other people are replying, so that's great.
Oh, thank you. Educating each other.
You can just chat, yeah. Review. Well, I mean, yes, Amazon is the best place to review books, I think. Unless it's a 1-star, in which case you can walk on by and we won't mind. We really won't mind. There's no obligation to post your 1-star review. It's totally fine. Not that it's hard though that, like, if on publication day and like the first review and you're like, oh for God's sake, could you give me a couple of days at least, like, it's like, come on. Anyway,
I don't read my reviews, but
I'm
very happy about. But
I do.
But I think it's quite inevitable when you're online to kind of see something. Like, I found it pretty impossible not to get a sense of it. So, but yeah, in terms of like where people can leave reviews, basically like wherever you would go to look at reviews is the best place to post a review. So if you are, if you bought yours from Waterstones have reviews on there. If you bought yours from Amazon, amazing to put it on there. I think you can review on websites even if you didn't buy it from there. But yeah, basically, if you did really love it, it is the most incredible thing that you can do to just copy and paste your review onto different websites. That would be literally 100%. Like the best thing ever. And also, to be honest, word of mouth, like if you tell a friend that you actually think would like it, that would be so amazing. I feel like, I don't know what you think, Charlotte, but I feel like for a book like mine where I feel like you probably have a sense of which of your friends would like it, and I feel like that kind of personal pitch will always trump anything else. So if you give it to your crush, that would be the best thing in the world. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. But yeah, if you do like a book, it does really help if you can, even if it's 2 lines. If you can leave a review somewhere, it makes such a big difference. So I'm always very, very, very grateful. I mean, I don't know how people have time. I just like the whole book community is amazing, and I feel, I'm just endlessly grateful that people do it for nothing. It's just because they love books, and
Oh, you're all wonderful people.
And I think just like, obviously I review books as well. I think on NetGalley you can like edit it, so not edit it, like tag it. So if you post on NetGalley, it can like send it off to like Goodreads and set it to magically write wherever you want it to go. It can then post the same review, rather than you having to type it in or copy and paste.
So do that with all the 5-star reviews.
Yeah, absolutely.
If not,
don't
just put it on. Just don't actually. Just write it for yourself, and then
if you don't like it. It is hard. It is hard. I do feel like it's the only job where, you know, you wouldn't get somebody kind of coming up to you in the street and going, if you're solicitor, and going, you know, you're really shit. Like, it's just like, sorry, I don't know. But like, it's so public as well. It's just like, oh God, you're telling the whole world that you think I'm rubbish. Thanks. But I know it's not me, it's the book, so it's fine. And actually, I feel like you know, 6 books in, it's cool. But I think when you're a debut, it's really hard. So if you are reviewing a debut, be nice to them, because you know, it's a whole other world of pain. Yeah. Well, you're book 2 now, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, so it doesn't count. Be horrible.
You've got your thick skin. No, but it's really, it's a weird thing. But yeah, I 100%. I also think you're totally allowed to think a book is a 1-star. Like, you know, not every book is for everyone, so it's fine. It's just, if you do hate it, maybe tell fewer people, or just don't talk about it. Just
On the other hand, I feel like if you did really love something, that is what is so cool about being able to be specific. And I feel like, you know, it's that thing of, again, if you appreciate looking at reviews when you're deciding whether to get something, and I feel like, you know, it's that odd thing of, it's amazing to see what it is that, you know, I get people messaging me, which is amazing. And I feel like the people who make the effort to kind of contact me personally and sort of say what they've really enjoyed about it, it's always amazing to see what specifically resonated with people, or what, you know, what they found funny about it. And, you know, I think that it's exactly those kind of like specific personal takes on reviews on books that make the most amazing reviews, right? Because they're the things that would convince you. So I really enjoy kind of seeing what it is that that people kind of connect to. So that's always really exciting. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I agree. I think it would be very boring if we all like the same books. So, you know,
hopefully people who find them like them. Great.
I feel like we've missed questions, and I'm upset, and I'm sorry. If anybody wanted to ask me anything, you can message me afterwards. Like, because this whole scrolling thing is like, yeah. But yeah, it's been lovely to talk to you all both and have people watch. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's been really brilliant. So I don't know whether you two are staying on while I do the giveaway, or whether you're popping off.
I'm happy to stay.
Yeah. Obviously, just thank you both so much for joining. It's been really lovely to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for anyone who's been scrolling this while they're sort of on the loo or watching, you know, something else, eating their pasta. That's what I hope to go and do. Fun. I hope people enjoy. If this has been like the first time hearing about one of our books, then I hope they have a good time reading.
What would you change about your books if you go back and make changes? No, I don't think I would. Move on. I don't think I would change. There's nothing. Is there anything? No, it's had about 3 million edits, so I'm kind of happy with it. I feel like there's probably some typos still, but no, done. That's done. I don't know about you, Lily. Do you have? Is there anything you do?
Probably sort of both, everything and nothing. You know, but it is the book it is now, and I feel like with my editor hat on, I'd sort of advise other people as well. You know, a book is your idea for it. Well, there's always like an infinite amount of executions that you could do for that. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I like.
That is true.
I think they're fun, and I think I wanted to write a book that was fun and that people would hopefully sort of have a nice time reading. So hopefully that.
Honestly, 100% you did. Like, it cheered me up so much.
Oh yeah.
It's just that, like I said, that humor is like, oh, I want to be like that. I need to go to like some kind of masterclass to learn how to write like that, because it's such a skill. It really. Anyway, sorry, I'll stop getting up your ass. Carry on, Louise.
Please go further up. High up as you like.
Really inappropriate. I'm so sorry. Right, I should not be allowed to speak. I'm a writer, not a talker. Sorry,
No, you're
Louise.
fine.
I'll go before I say anything. Thank you for having us.
Yes,
I think if I press this X button, I'm going to go, but maybe I won't. Maybe you'll just sort of see me pottering around. Thanks for being here.
Bye. Oh, okay, I'm going to leave too. Are you doing the giveaway? There is a giveaway, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
All right. Thank you so much, Eloise. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Okay, so for those of you who, like the audience, obviously, if you think that those books, these three, sound absolutely amazing and you would like to get your hands on them for free, then Aria / Head of Zeus are doing an amazing giveaway. It launches on Wednesday, so it's not up there yet, but it will be up on Wednesday. So the giveaway will be live from Wednesday until Valentine's Day next week. So you have a lot of time to kind of, if you forget about it on Wednesday, it's all right, you'll still have a couple of days to catch up. So you will have the opportunity to win these two, and obviously this one, my Own Worst Enemy, when it is published later on in the year. So to take part, you have to follow the Head of Zeus account, so the account that this is being hosted on. Like the giveaway post when it is posted on Wednesday, and comment which book character that you would most like to go on a Valentine's date with, similar to how Lily and Charlotte said their characters. So that is the giveaway. I'm really, really happy that you've all seemed to have enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining us and for asking loads of questions. Again, sorry if we didn't get to your question, but it's been lovely to talk to you all, and see you. Bye.